So, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back again. I'm going to sort my green screen out. Fallon's preparing to fail. How are you, Lewis? How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling good. You know, there's a lot of content going out over yesterday and today, man. But it's got to be done, hasn't it? Because it's like the biggest game of the season.
Mate, you're relentless. I can't lie. Anyone who hasn't subbed to City Extra, make sure you do. The link's in the title, people. And you're literally live every hour. Literally every hour. Yeah, every time I open YouTube on my phone, City Extra, first video. Every time. I'm like, mate, do you not sleep?
Yeah, we're on that caffeine pills, you know what I mean? Just crushing the caffeine pills, man. You know what I mean?
Well, obviously, it is the biggest game of the season tomorrow. That big blue shark is right on our backsides, and it's not looking good for Arsenal. I can't lie, bro. Like, what have you? Before we get into the game, what have you made of our little? Well, I say little blip. It's a monumental blip at the minute. 3 draws on the spin, 2-0 up in 2 of them, and then draw with the bottom of the table team. What have you made of that? What do you put all that down to?
I think there's a couple of different things that you can put it down to. I know you might have a different opinion on this one. The Anfield one, I feel like it happens sometimes. That what needs to happen after Anfield though is that can't happen again. You know, this happened to City. We've been to Anfield before, and you know we've been blown away. Conceded a couple of goals in a couple of minutes. You know, and it's a difficult place to go. You should have won the game. 100%, you should have won the game. But you took a point from it. Okay. The thing for me about that was okay. The next match, West Ham. Let's go and get back on. Let's show everyone that Liverpool result was just because it's Anfield. Whereas what people are doing now is people are looking at that Anfield result and going, was it because it was Anfield? Was it because it was Liverpool? Or was it just because Arsenal let them back in the game? And that's the problem. And then you look at the West Ham one for me. I think the West Ham one was, I don't know what you can put that down to. I mean, you're 2-0 up after 10 minutes. We did a watch along for the game, actually. We watched the game. And after 10 minutes, I was like, fuck's sake, man. You know what I mean? This is going to end up about 7-0. You know what I mean? Because West Ham started so weird, so poorly. And Arsenal, to be fair, started good. After 2-0, you're thinking, okay, go and get that third goal, which will happen in the next couple of minutes. And then it's game over. I'm turning off the stream, because I ain't watching. So I'm not watching the last 70 minutes of Arsenal when they're 3-0 up. And then they just did something weird. They sort of like, they didn't continue to attack. They started being a bit slower. Maybe got a little bit complacent, which I think you have to say complacency came into it. I think you look at Partey when he received the ball and Declan Rice is pushing him and he's doing that stupid flick. And I'm just like, that has to be complacency. That has to be complacency because you're not telling me that Partey does that 10 games ago. You're not telling me Partey does that at 0-0. He's done it because he thought, he thought, oh yeah, we're 2-0 up. These are shit. I'm going to do some nice flicks. And I'm thinking, and then of course you go 2-2 again, and then that's when the doubt steps in. I actually, to be fair, the Southampton one, I thought you'd win the game, but I was much more optimistic about Southampton getting a result because that was, for me, I think if Southampton would have got beat that night, I think they would have been confirmed relegated. Now I still think they're going to get relegated, but I think if they would have got beat on Friday night, that's it. They're done. And so I did think, surely Southampton are not going to go down here without a fight, right? Southampton are going to give everything they've got. And then obviously Ramsdale, again, what's that? Is that complacency? Is it nerves? Why is he kicked the ball in between two players, which he probably can't do? It's I don't know, man. But the facts is that Arsenal could have had an extra 6 points on City when we played tomorrow. And they should have had 6 points. Minimum 4, because you can maybe, like I say, maybe you can make a case for the Liverpool one. You can't make a case for West Ham, and you can't make a case for Southampton. So, inexperience, complacency, naivety, all these words come into it. The good thing for Arsenal, and I've said this since the game on Friday, in my opinion, this is probably the best game for Arsenal now because they need a game where it's do or die. Will they do it or will they die? We'll find out tomorrow. But I don't think they need any more games at the bottom of the table now. I think they need a game to go out there and say that we have to win. It's do or die. If they do it, fair dues, title's still on. It's not over if Arsenal win because obviously we only need you to drop points in one game. But if Arsenal get beat tomorrow, I think that's curtains.
Yeah, mate, I tend to agree. I think I wouldn't say it's nerves as such. Nerves are playing a part, but I don't think that's the main factor as to why we've dropped points. I think it's maybe a little bit of arrogance. Like, I mean, Aaron Ramsdale trying to pass that ball out and pass it straight to Southampton. If that was nerves, he'd just smash it straight into Rose Ed or straight down the pitch. Like maybe, and this is the thing, and I think it was Matisse said this on the Big Six last night that. No, it weren't. I think it was Grizz. I'm lying. It was Grizz saying like these players sometimes they do read social media. They do believe their own hype. They do think they're better than they are. Some of them, you know, we're on a great run. We're top of the table. You know, and Aaron Ramsdale, as good as he's been all season, he has had some moments like that. Yeah, where he has messed up. You know, I mean, look at the goal against Sporting Lisbon. Like it's way, way, way off his line. Yeah, and the guy just spanks it from the halfway line straight in. You know, that's down to the goalkeeper. You know. That pass last night, there's been other times where his kicking's been shocking at times, but overall, over the course of the season, he's been one of our best players and kept us in games. But again, is that because is he trying to be too flash? Is he trying to be too cocky? Is he believing the hype? Yeah, and I thought that was a good point Grizz made last night because there are a lot of players in this team that do watch social media. Ramsdale's one of them. Like we know that for a fact. He's said it before. He sees what's online. You know, and most of this squad will be sitting there watching fan cams on AFTV. They will be seeing what's on Twitter. You know, and a lot of them will believe their own hype. I'm not saying he's one of them, but that's maybe an excuse as to why he's over cocky in a game where we need to win that game against Southampton. And after 30 seconds, you put us straight on the back foot. Yeah, and then after that, it was almost like it was like a balloon that had been deflated because after that, we looked lost, mate. Like I was fuming. Like the West Ham game, I was seething because that first 10 minutes was unbelievable. Like we were just popping the ball around, and my chat was sitting there saying, "What's the record Premier League win?" Like we could be a record.
Yeah. I was doing the same thing. To be fair, after 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's mad. The Liverpool one, I get why people are saying it. It's Anfield. They've only lost one game, but mate, we're not some tin pot little football club. We're a massive football club, and we're top of the table. Like if you're 2-0 up in any game, I don't care what team you're playing. You should win that game if you're Arsenal Football Club. Yeah. But yeah,
I agree with that. By the way, I'm just saying you can understand it happens at Anfield.
Yeah,
and that's why I said though. That's why I said though. The next one then becomes crucial, and for me, I just don't understand why Arsenal, when they were 2-0 up against West Ham, didn't just get together and just say, "Let's go and get that killer goal." Because it's funny because it's exactly what City did against Leicester. We went 3-0 up, and then Pep went boom, wholesale changes because. How often do you see a team go 3-0 up and then draw the game? Very, very rarely. But 2-0, you see it all the time. It's I see teams all the time across Europe, 2-0 up, 2-2. You know what I mean? It's not a rare thing, 2-0. They say it's a dangerous lead for a reason. It's because it's true. And Arsenal against West Ham, I do think that was probably arrogance. I do think they thought they had that game won. They're against a relegation threatened side. You're 2-0 up after 10 minutes. West Ham are awful, and they probably just thought, we can take the foot off the gas. They can't take the foot off the gas. You can't. You should never take the foot off the gas until you get that third goal cushion. And, just going back to your Ramsdale point about playing out from the back against, obviously, Southampton and trying to obviously play out and look nice. The time for looking nice is over.
Yep.
That's you do that at the beginning of the season. I remember beginning of the season when City we got off to a decent start. Haaland was scoring goals, and everyone was like, "Oh, City look mint." Yeah, that's the time everyone wants to. No one cares about how you get the victory in the games when you're in this title running. You take 1-0s, own goals all day long. You don't care. It could be the worst performance in the world. So long as you get that 3 points, that's all that matters. So I just think, yeah, maybe it's a little bit of naivety. You heard Gabby Jesus in the interview, obviously talking about the lack of winners, Premier League, and I think it's probably showing a little bit, and this goes back to, I know we didn't really have a big conversation about it yesterday when it was on Saeed's channel, but goes back to transfers, and I can tell
back to the vision of the football club, right? Listen, most people from the outside looking in and say, "Wow, what an achievement Arteta's done this season, getting them in a title race, this and that." But ultimately, that's all great and fantastic, and we've all enjoyed the season so far, even as neutral fans that don't support Arsenal. Wow, Arsenal have been brilliant. I've seen so many other channels bigging us up. But ultimately, if we don't win the title after throwing away 3 cup competitions to play once a week because apparently the squad's not big enough. And then Jesus did say that. He did say there was not enough winners in the team and it's a young squad. I've not heard him say young squad all season. And that is ultimately why I got the ump with this whole youth project, right? Because if we don't win it, which is very unlikely now, because listen, we've got to come to your ground and beat you. And that, when was the last time we beat you? 2015. I mean, come on. Yeah, Pep's beat us 11 out of 11 in the league. I mean, we got no chance. Let's just be real with it. Yeah, but that is why I didn't want a youth project. Because if you don't win anything, but it's a young squad. They're only going to get better. We go again next season. Couple more players. It's a thin squad. You got all the ex-players wheeling out their BS, and that's why I didn't want it. It's like, cool, have some young players in your squad. That's great. Martinelli was already there. He inherited him. He inherited Saka. Like, Saliba inherited. Tierney was already there. I mean, he's all under 25, by the way. There's 4 players straight away. Eddie and Katie are another one. There's 5 players he inherited under 25. So, yes, he's added Odegaard. Yes, he's added Ben White. Yes, he's added Ramsdale, etc. Yeah, but ultimately, if we don't win it, it'll be because of the size of the squad. We didn't do enough in the 2 transfer windows, and the age of the squad. And they're 2 things that I've called out since day one. We don't do enough in the transfer windows ever, and I don't want a youth project. If we'd gone out there and signed a couple of experienced players in the summer, or even just experienced Premier League players, like I wanted Ivan Toney in the summer. And even when we signed Jesus, I was buzzing with that signing, by the way. I think he's quality. Yeah, but we all know he's not prolific in front of goal. He's more of a link man than an out-and-out striker. Yeah, he'll dribble past a few, he'll link the play nice, and he'll switch and move from left to right to centre. But he's not a fox in the box. He ain't going to go and bag you 20 goals. He's never done it. I think the most he scored for you in a season was 14. Lacazette was doing that.
You know what, as well, Lee, on that, I remember the beginning of the season when Jesus got off to a great start and everyone was bigging him. Everyone was bigging him. The media were bigging him. Everyone was like, oh, City made a huge mistake letting Jesus go. And I was like, listen, I've seen this guy play for Manchester City. He's a good player. He really, really is. But there was a reason why, for me, he played some of his best football on the wing and not as a striker. And it's because ultimately, when you get him the big chances, you don't back into putting. He had some big chances against Southampton. That he should have put away. And like I said, I don't want to get on him because I do think he's a good player, and I do think he's probably an upgrade maybe on what you had, and he does bring the team together. But ultimately, I think when you're going for titles, you're going for trophies. You need killers. And it's not quite there. But you look at the you look at the spine of the Arsenal team. You look at the spine. So you've got Ramsdale, and compare this to the Manchester City spine, right? So you got Ramsdale in goal. You got Gabriel Saliba. You probably go Gabriel. Maybe is the guy who's more of a leader. Partey, Odegaard, Jesus. Compare that to Manchester City's. You got Edison in goal, multiple Premier League winner. Obviously, doesn't play too much for Brazil because of Alisson, but obviously he's there with Alisson. Diaz, leader. Rodri, plays for Spain. He's getting in the Spain team now, and he's going to be forcing out Busquets very, very soon. Leader, Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland, the massive ego that he's got. I mean, you look at the difference there in leadership. You know what I mean? It's not all about quality. And going through these tough times, you do need leaders, proper leaders, by the way, I would add, not people who just get people around in a huddle every 2 minutes, which I think's been coming.
Did he ever do any of this, like, I'm a leader gimmick?
He did it once, and Fernandinho pulled him and said, stop that. He grabbed him in I think it was in a Champions League game. And I can't remember the exact situation, but I just remember him kicking off with the players or the referee or doing what he does now, basically. And Fernandinho went over and grabbed him and basically said, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Because, and I said, and Lee, this isn't reactionary for me. I've called this out from, do you know when you got beat 1-0 at Everton? I called it out there. I'm pretty sure we played that day as well. And I remember there was like 5 minutes to go. You're 1-0 down, 5 minutes to go. So there's still time. And if you're going to win Premier Leagues, you'll have enough time. You'll make time, right? And I remember kicking off and I was thinking, is that really what you want? Or would you not rather have a player going round to the players and saying, everyone calm down, everyone take 5, not 5, but everyone take a second just to compose themselves. I think that's what you really need in a title. If you I just think
you don't need to be going off the rails, do you? You need a bit of calming leadership. Like when I remember when we played when these legends played for the football club, yeah, and we're just lost in the Champions League, we're just lost in the FA Cup, I think it was, yeah, and then we were playing Liverpool, yeah, and Henri ended up doing that mad solo run past Carragher and Hippier, I think it was, whoever it was, and Didi Hamann, yeah, and it was almost like he got that he won't stand there going and clapping, come on, huddle round. He was just like, do you know what? Fuck these idiots, man. I'm going to do it myself today. Yeah, and I'm going to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Where in that team is there that player? There ain't. We have not got a player. As much as I love Martinelli, yeah, he's not going to get hold of the game and run a game on his ones. He ain't going to do it. As much as Saka's been great all season, and for me, he's been our player of the season. Yeah, he's not that guy that's going to get the ball, dribble past four, and slap one top bins. Ain't going to happen. We ain't got Odegaard doing that. Yeah, Odegaard in every big game, when it's against us, shivers. He goes. He disappears. Yeah, people gave him credit for that fight back against Southampton. For what? Where was he for 89 minutes? Yeah, but because he got a goal and rolled the crowd up, all of a sudden, he loves the club. He rallied the team. And it's like, just want somebody in that team that's got that stardust. And we ain't got anyone in that team that's got the stardust. So on that side of it, you look at it and say, well, we've done well to be in a title race. But at the same time, we're going to bottle it big time, mate. 8 points clear. I don't care what anyone tells me about how great Man City are. And listen, you are unbelievable. Yeah, like let's just pull it out there. You are. If you win the treble, that is the best team ever to have played in England, mate. Yeah, because you're doing it now when it's a points tally of 90 plus to win a league. Yeah, back in the day when Man U died, it's nothing to take away from Man United, by the way. Yeah, because that was crazy as well. I think they won the league on 78 points that season. Like you're now going 20 points or 18 points above every season. Yeah, the amount of wins. Then you're doing it in the Champions League up against Real Madrid. Like you beat Bayern Munich in the previous round. I mean, come on, that's no joke. Like two of the for me, they're the best two clubs on the planet. Yeah, the way they're run. But and then you've got to beat your rivals, Man United, in the final. Your neighbours. I mean, mate, if you do it, it'd be some achievement, I tell you. But at the same time, if Arsenal pick up their points against Southampton and West Ham and even Liverpool, bro, if we'd won all of them games, you'd be 11 behind us going into tomorrow with 2 games in hand. So even if you beat us and win 2 in hand, we're still 2 clear.
Well, this is it, and this is
ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, and this is why ultimately I see sometimes on Twitter people tweeting stuff like, "Oh, you can't compete with City when they're an oil state," or blah blah blah, and I'm like, ultimately, I mean, we've not had the best season in the world, and Arsenal put themselves in a position to win the league, and this is why I said this to me goes back to January. When you go back to January, yeah, I think you had a pretty good lead against us there. I can tell you as a City fan, so any Arsenal fans listening now, I can tell you this as a City fan. My concerns at the time, I was thinking to myself as a City fan, shit, if Arsenal go big here in this transfer window, that's it. They're going to win the league. And I can tell you at the end of January, when the window's shut, I said to myself, it's on. So whose fault is that? Is that my club's fault? Or is that your club's fault? It's not my club's fault that you had the best chance of winning the Premier League, and you still might do, and you decided to go and get Kivior and Jorginho, and Trossard was a great signing. Not my fault. You could have gone out there and said, you know what, we're going to go and slap £100 million on a centre-back and a CDM. And don't tell me, oh, we've not got that kind of money, because you do have that kind of money. You do have that kind of money because you tried to get...
mate, we've got money. This myth that Arsenal are skin and we're the plucky, keeping up with the big billionaire owned by a country and all that crap. Mate, these people forget our T-shirts have got Fly Emirates on them and the stadium's called the Emirates Stadium. Do these people not realise that? Yeah, come on. Like, we have got a lot of money. And this is why when Wenger was the manager of the club, making out we couldn't compete. Bro, we had about 300 million in cash reserves while he was our manager, telling us we can't compete. Like, plus what we could do in terms of our income. So we could have took some of that cash reserves. And the stadium was 20 million quid a year. He was making out we were selling all these players because we couldn't compete. And we had to sell them to pay the stadium off. What a load of rubbish.
I just feel, Lee, that if City do go on and win the title, which in my opinion, I think we will, because I think we will beat you tomorrow night. As well. And I think if we beat you tomorrow night, I think that, you then go into Newcastle, you got Chelsea, you got Brighton. It wouldn't surprise me if you drop more points there. But if we do go on and win the league, I just think, will the Arsenal board look back and go, you know what, we kind of fucked it in January. We should have
I
gone
don't
big
think they
there.
will, Lewis. I'll be real with you, yeah? Right. Our CEO on the 12th of January, when we were 8 points clear of you, was sat on Sky Sports telling everyone top 4 was the aim this season. Top 4 is the aim. Top 4 is the aim.
I think that's shocking.
I mean, he should have been sacked straight after that interview. To be fair to Edu, as much as I do not like that guy, yeah, he just comes across sleazy, slimy, like I just don't like him. Yeah, and to be fair to him though, on the 25th of July, before the season started, he said on a Sky Sports interview, "It's time we challenge for a title. Why can't we win it now?" So maybe that was just lip service, but Edu said it. Then in the West Ham press conference preview for the game, Arteta was asked by one of the journos, because everyone keeps saying nobody expected us to be in this position. So she asked him, and he said, "Well, I did." So that's now Edu saying it, Arteta saying it. So when all these fans sit there and say nobody expected it, well, why have you been trusting the process for 4 years then? What did you expect the process to be doing? Like finishing fourth? Like, of course they expected it. That's why they've put so much time and effort into the manager and cussing anyone who don't rate him. Yeah, because they did expect him to get us into this position. So now what they want to do is, if we don't win it, oh, well, nobody expected it. Well, yes, you did. Because you've been backing it for 4 years. Bro, we've done nearly £500 million since he's been here. That's a lot of money, mate. That's a lot of money. 21 new players. He inherited about 7 that are still here. Like, because the 5 I named earlier, plus Granit Xhaka, plus El Neni, Ian, and Rob Holding. So there's 8 players, plus 21 he's added to that, and that have come and gone. £500 million in for nearly 4 years. Like, come on, it's the first time he's qualifying for his Champions League. Yeah, and I hope we win it, but I don't see it.
And I've said this before. I think that maybe actually people were sleeping on Arsenal at the end of last year, because I've said this before, but Arsenal should have been in the top 4 last year. They bottled it, right? So you got 69 points last year in the league, right? 69 points. So I don't know. They call me old school, but I thought that you as the next season, you aim to improve on that, right? So 69 points. So Arsenal last year drew 3 games and lost 13, right? So 16 games last year, they failed to win in the Premier League. So you're going to try and improve on that. So, you know, what would you try and aim for? 80, 82? That's only an extra 12 points. That's an extra, only extra 4 wins. Suddenly, you are actually saying, that's only 9 points behind City when they won the title or something like that. So I was sleeping on it as well. Maybe everyone was sleeping on Arsenal, maybe being title contender. I think
you're using logic, Lewis, yeah, which is lost on 99% of football fans.
but that is true, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? If you look at last year and say to Arsenal, okay, you got 69 points. Next year, you're going to look to improve. What do you want to aim for? Okay, well, if we get an extra few wins, we could potentially look at getting towards 80 points. You know, that's only 11 points more. Well, leagues have been won on 80 points many, many times. And it only needs City to have a little bit of an off season and you'll be in a title race. The facts are Arsenal are in they're still in a title race, not disregarding them, because they could do something tomorrow night. I don't think they will, but they could. But the facts are Arsenal were in there in January and they should have gone out there and gone and got more recruits, more experience for when they get to these last 10 games that can help them out. Because I've been saying all season, and so has Gary Neville, that when you get to that last 10 games, everything changes. And you know, you look at Arsenal's form, 3 draws in a row. Process is the process. It's not surprising. Everyone knows what happens in the last 10 games. And that's why if we go back to the start of the conversation, it's not about performances. It's about results in these last 10 games. That's it. And I just feel like sometimes I'm looking at some Arsenal fans and on Twitter, not everyone, of course, but some people, and it's like, it's almost like a shock. You know what I mean? Oh, we fucked up against West Ham and Southampton. Yeah, that's what happens when you get to the last 10 games. You fuck up. The difference is you have players in the team, and sometimes it's from the manager that know that when you play in Southampton, bottom of the league, that this is not going to be easy, and we just need to get the win. And whether it's a 90th minute 1-0 win from whoever, it doesn't matter. And I just feel like Arsenal are just like, they're showing their inexperience, man. You can tell they've not won a league for a long time, in my view.
Yeah, mate, I agree with that. And I said during the World Cup, all the way through that World Cup, because we were top, I said, we're going to see how much this fan base and how much this football club want that title. Yeah, because this is the best chance we've had for a long, long time to win it. And then they dropped Jorginho and some Polish lad I've never heard of. Yeah, cool, Trossard, what a player. But then he's won player of the month for March and he ain't been seen all the way through April. Like you were our best player last month. You ain't started a game in April. What's that all about? Like your subs are shocking at times, mate. Yeah, like when we was at Anfield, he brings on that Polish lad who's played 4 minutes of Premier League football, and it's like you've got Jorginho on the bench, mate. Didn't we sign him for big games, like and for the experience of being in big moments? Yeah, and then he did it again. Did it again at the weekend. We didn't see Jorginho on Friday. Like, it makes no sense, which tells me he didn't want him. Where's Smith Rowe? Is he still alive?
Oh, mate, this is. I've got to say, I don't know your. I genuinely don't know your view on it. I fucking think Smith Rowe's the real deal. I think he's the real McCoy. I really like him. I don't know what's happened to him. I've not seen him for so long. I think he's absolutely incredible. And I don't know. As a City fan, obviously, I follow Arsenal and I'm watching him, but like I don't fully know the ins. What's going on with him, man? Because I think he's mega. And I'm not saying he should be starting games for Arsenal, but like,
at least come off the bench.
Why is he not coming off the bench? Genuinely asking you the question because I don't know.
There's a rumour doing the rounds that he's had a bust up with Arteta, which would make sense because he literally don't play him, mate. Literally. But at the start, to be fair, at the start of the season, he got injured. Then he came back for the United game at Old Trafford, which we lost. Again, Arteta cocked that up that day. Get back in the game 1-0, and then he didn't want making subs until we were 3-1 down. And then he came on in that game for 10 minutes and then got injured in the warm down. And then we didn't see him again for months. And then he's been back ready, fit for about 2-3 months now. Barely played. I think he's come on in one game. I think the only game he came on in was Bournemouth when we won 3-2. No, I think he started. Did he start that game? Or I think he may have came on in that game and then got subbed off in that game. Can't remember, but he came on and then came off, I think, in one game. And it's like this rumour doing the rounds that he's had a bust up with Arteta. Well, maybe. He is the number 10. He's got Dennis Bergkamp's number, part of Project Youth poster boy. Why can't I play boss? Maybe he's had a go. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. Before we wrap this up, because Lewis is going live in 9 minutes, people, make sure you are smashing the likes up. There's nearly, just shy of 1,000 in here now. So sub to Lewis's channel. The link's in the title. Make sure we ain't even on 200 likes. You lot are moving like Edu in a transfer window. How's that all about? Yeah, but we are going to quickly preview the game. Nathan Aki, what's going on with him? Is he fit? Not fit? Because he went off the other night.
You know what's mad, right? We've just had the press conference. I'm looking at the quotes now. It doesn't appear anyone's even asked the manager about him, which is wild. In my opinion, I don't think he'll be fit. If it's a hamstring injury, he ain't going to be fit, is he? So, yeah, I would put your money on. I'll put your money on that he's going to be out injured, man. Which is a real shame.
Erling Haaland, it is. He's been brilliant, mate. He's been absolutely class. Just proved that you don't need to have an inverted left back. Because he ain't been inverted all season, has he? Let's be real with it.
I know.
Yeah, it's mad. And he's a centre back. And do you know what? I rate him a lot. Yeah, I wanted him when he was at Bournemouth. Yeah, I was like, I can sign him. I just got laughed at. What do you want Nathan Eki for? Idiots. Erling Haaland, man. This guy. Yeah, we talk about big blue sharks here. He looks like a big blue dolphin. He looks like a dolphin, doesn't he? Mate, he's been unreal, mate. And he can break the record against us tomorrow. As soon as we drew that game, he posted on Twitter. Yeah, and it's like he's licking his chops, mate. He knows he's up against Holding and Gabriel. And Gabriel's fallen away since Holding's coming.
You know what's crazy about having Haaland in the team? And I've never had this feeling. You might have had it with Henry. I'd be interested to know. Even with Aguero, I probably didn't have it. But every game that we play, if Kevin De Bruyne's playing with Haaland, I'm just thinking it's a goal straight away. You know what I mean? So I'm going into games. That's it. I'm going into games thinking we've got a goal because I know at some point the quality of these two players is mad. And, you know, there's only very few fans in the world that could probably say, you probably may have had it with Henry when he was.
Yeah, with Henry definitely.
You just knew at some point he was going to score. So then straight away going into games thinking, right, well, we're already 1-0 up because at some point he's going to score. I know some people might not be following this, but like that's how you feel.
And that game, not that game, that era when we had these players. They're all big 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3". Like Thierry Henry's about 6'3". He's a big lad. Yeah, Patrick Vieira, Dennis Bergkamp. They're all tall, big lads. Yeah, they don't look it, but then when you see them standing in the tunnel, yeah, and all the other players that you're going up against are like looking at them, thinking, "Shit, we got Arsenal today." And when you could name Arsenal's 11 every week, none of this thin squad bullshit. Like you could name the 11, and that is what I see with Man City. When you see them lining up in that tunnel for a game. It's almost like the other team are thinking, yeah, we're fucked. There's not many teams that have had that. Man United have had it a few times under Fergie. Yeah, but I mean, this City team, mate, like, you won the league twice without a striker. And Mahrez was I think he was your top scorer for them 2 seasons. Like, until Haaland come in, and now Haaland's just blitzed goals for fun. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But even when he's not in the game, you just know one chance and it's in the back of the net. Yeah, bro, that's mad. And then when you look at the defense, you got Diaz, you got Laporte, you got Aki, you got Akanji, like Edison. Like, you just can't break that. And then you got Rodri sitting there, like, it's just a joke. Your team's a joke. Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, by the way. Yeah, I don't know why he's wanting to leave, mate. Like, I don't know what's happened there. He is unbelievably good to watch. Against Bayern Munich in that first leg, I think he made 4 nutmegs in 20 seconds. It was just a joke.
He's a big game player as well. And you know, even though Mahrez scored a hat-trick, I'd be surprised if Bernardo doesn't start, because Pep Guardiola always goes back to Bernardo in the big games, because he gives you that consistency. You know you're going to get a performance out of him. But I mean, the Bernardo one's weird, because like we know he wants to leave because I don't know whether he don't like the culture, don't like the weather, or whatever. But
well, to be fair, I wouldn't like Manchester either if I was Portuguese.
yeah, I know. Mate, to be fair, he might be liking it. We've got some pretty nice weather at the moment. I went for a little walk this morning. It's pretty decent. But yeah, but there's very few clubs that could get him. I don't see him at Barca because they can't afford no one. Don't see him in a Real Madrid shirt. I don't think he'd go to Germany. Would he go to Italy? PSG? I think PSG is one that apparently Mbappe really wants. Apparently Mbappe's told the club to sign him. So maybe.
Maybe. But
I could see him in a PSG shirt as well.
It makes no sense. Like, you are literally up there with Madrid at the minute as like the best team in the world.
I think we'll beat Madrid as well. We should have beat them last year.
Yeah, mate, that Panenka penalty though, man. Benzema's just a joke.
Oh, no,
like, if he misses that, you win the tie. Yeah, because even though that was the first leg, they ain't going to go and beat you 3-1 in the second. Like, if he misses that, it's game over. And to have the balls to stand there in the last minute and just dink it straight down the middle against one of the best teams on the planet, like, it's just a joke.
He's something else. He's finishing.
I don't think he'll beat them. I don't think he'll beat them. I think we will. To win the Champions League at the start of the season. I said, I think they'll do it this year. But I don't know, man. Madrid in that competition, it's just different, isn't it? They're just come alive.
You know why though? I don't know did you see the comments that Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne made after Bayern Munich? They were really interesting, man. If you look at us when we were in the knockout football, look at us against Monaco, conceded pure goals. Tottenham conceded pure goals. Liverpool conceded goals. Real Madrid last year conceded 6 goals. This year against Leipzig, not conceded a goal. Conceded 1 goal against Bayern Munich, which was a penalty and probably wasn't even a penalty. And then after that game, both Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva came out, and they've had the conversation, because they both said it separately in different interviews, that they've realised as a team and as a club that you don't need to go ham for the full 90 minutes. And this is what we've been doing in the Champions League for the last 6 years. We go to teams in the Champions League and they say, come on, let's make it a basketball game. And they're meant to watch. You remember the Monaco game, the Tottenham game, the Liverpool game, the Real Madrid game last year. Incredible spectacle. But as a City team, they're shit, that they're really, really poor. So it seems to me that the players have realised that they don't have to do that anymore, that they can just keep the ball for most of the game. And with Haaland up top, create him a few chances and you'll win the football match. So that's why this year I am confident we'll beat them. I think we've turned a corner. I think the players have learned.
Yeah, mate, I agree with that. I totally agree. They're good to watch, and they have been good to watch, them games to and fro. But mate, the way you controlled that Bayern Munich 2 legs was just different, man.
I tell you this, that Bayern Munich second leg, right, was boring, wasn't it? It was boring. But that's what City needed.
Well, it was boring in terms of, like, there wasn't loads of goal mouth action and not many goals. Yeah,
but that's what City needed. Last year or the year before, that second leg against Bayern Munich would have been mint. You would have loved the game. It would have been
that would have been like a 3-3 or a 3-2 or something.
And that's what I'm saying. But I think we've learned that you can't just go into games and just entertain the masses. You've got to go there and shut shit down. And I think that's what we need to do against the Bernabeu. Listen, the Bernabeu's a difficult place to go, but if we can go to the Bernabeu, try and lock it down, bring them back to the Etihad where we've got a brilliant record, it's on.
Yeah, man. All right, listen, I'd be fully confident if I supported City as well. Give us your score prediction for tomorrow, man. I'm going to say 4-0 City, unfortunately.
You know what's crazy, right? That scoreline could happen, and there's part of me that thinks it will happen. But I don't know. I'm also thinking maybe like a 2-1, 3-1. But if Kevin De Bruyne, Haaland turn up tomorrow with Rob Holding at the back, it could be entertaining. But look, at the end of the day, as bad as Arsenal have been in the last 3 games, you've got them legends on the wall behind you, right? On the green screen. Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Partey, these players, you've still got a chance to write your name in history. Don't fuck it up. Go there tomorrow and do something. If you don't, then you won't write your names into history, and you'll just be like every other Arsenal team that's been over the last 10 years. But you still have
I've already
a chance.
got the green screen prepped for next season. If we win it,
it's there. Listen, they could do it, but they've got to, and the most important thing that they can do now is go into that game tomorrow. Forget what's happened in the last 3 games. Forget it's happened. You can't change that. But just make sure that you go for it, and that when they come off that pitch, you have no regrets, because there's still a chance that these Arsenal players could write their names into history. They just got to make sure they don't waste that opportunity, man.
No, 100%. One more question before we end. Big up for this donation as well, man. Says United are all teams rivals. How long until, I don't know what flag that is. I can't see it, mate. Maybe is that Qatari? I don't know. I have no idea what that says.
I can't see the flag.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sorry, Al. Do you rate Arteta? Would you take him at Man City if Pep left?
No, I wouldn't take him at Man City if Pep left. I do rate him as a manager. I think he's a good manager, but there are still concerns there, which, to be fair, is fair because he's a young manager. But obviously, Arsenal knew he was a young manager. They knew he was an inexperienced manager, so they can't be shocked by that. I think next season, because I think he will stay next season, he's obviously going to have a harder job. And this is why I've said he's not going to compete for Arsenal, not going to compete for the title next season. Anyone that thinks they will, I think is kidding themselves, because look at the squads, look at the teams he's been putting out in the Europa League. That changes next season because he won't be doing that in the Champions League. I think there'll be more pressure on him to win a trophy. He might kill himself in the Carabao Cup. He might be like, nah, we're not playing the Carabao. We're getting out of this competition. But I think the FA Cup he'll have to take seriously. So he's gonna stretch the squad, and therefore his coaching ability is going to be tested even more. So next season, silverware, have a good go in the Champions League. And even though the squad's going to be tested, try and challenge for the title, but I just don't think they will next season. That's why I think that this season's the best opportunity, and that they need to give it everything they've got tomorrow.
Yeah, man. Spot on. Listen, appreciate you coming on. Sorry for the lateness as well. Lewis is going live literally now. As soon as this stream ends, there's a redirect that'll take you straight to his channel. Yeah, I've already done that. So as soon as I press end broadcast, it'll throw you straight to Lewis's channel. Go and show some love, man. And yeah, man, good luck tomorrow, bro. Not that you probably need it, but
it's gonna be a crazy one, bro. And like I say, City have been here before, the big experience. They're not going to be nervous. They'll be going into the game excited. But these Arsenal players, you fucked up over the last couple of weeks. You can go out there and put it right. You know what I mean? And it'll be interesting to see if they do that, bro. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
No, you're welcome, man. Always. I'm going live with Terry Flewers and Big Steve in an hour and a half, people, on the Football Terrace. So come and check that out. I'm sure he'll be full of beans. And we're out of here. Make sure you go straight to Lewis's channel right now. Direct you straight there. We're out of it, people. Laters.